Hey everyone, it's Pete here in South Bend. I hope that you're doing well. And today got more encouraging news from the Supreme Court of the United States. Dreamers are a huge part of our country, certainly a huge part of our community. Here in South Bend, some of the most active and civically engaged people that I know gradually over time revealed to me that they were dreamers, that their presence in the United States was under a cloud of uncertainty, especially once Donald Trump became president and started attacking dreamers with the attack on DACA. And I thought that this would be a great opportunity to talk with somebody who was such an important part, whose story was such an important part of how I think about this and other issues. Selena, if you followed our campaign closely, you'll remember Selena Garcia, who I got to know during a visit to a minority serving institution in Texas, is a wonderful student, a great American, a dreamer. And we reached out to her, hoping that she would take a little bit of time today, which she agreed to do, just to share a little bit about what this means to her and help us think about what needs to happen ahead. So, as usual, this is going to take a quick second while I attempt to bring her in. I think you're going to love, if you've met her, seen her at all in the context of the campaign, you know that she's an extraordinary individual. And if you haven't, you're going to love getting to know her a little bit. So I'm adding, we speak. Let's see if she comes through. There you are, Selena. So great to
Hi,
see you.
Amy.
How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. It's so good to see you, and so nice. I feel like we're being reunited, even though we can't see each other physically right now. Where are you today?
Definitely. It feels like a moment that you just came into my house, like, welcome home. Right now, I'm just at my mentor's house, enjoying
Wonderful.
life. It was a great moment for me to just reunite with her and cry and just give some smiles and just hug each other out at the front porch, not worrying who's watching. She's definitely my inspiration in the sense of like who I am as an individual. My family like brought me up, but she definitely taught me how to be a leader.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit. What was it like? Where were you when you heard the news, and what was the first thing that you thought of?
Oh, it was actually a really funny story. I've been running now, this thing
All
called
right.
running. I started doing this competition with my cohort, my colleagues, and we're getting like our steps in. And I woke up really late this morning. I was like so tired, and I went for my run this morning. And I had one of our Pete fans actually sent me something on Twitter, Carrie, and she's like, Selena, congratulations. And I'm like, what's going on? And at the moment that she sent that, everybody started sending me something, text
Okay.
messages. I'm like, my phone started blowing up. And then at that moment, I was like, I'm missing something. Like, what is going on? So I went on Twitter to see what was trending, and DACA was the first thing. I honestly, I swear, I stopped running and I just looked up at the sky and I said, this is real. Like, if there's nothing else that I don't believe in, like God is real. Like he is always in control, even when I don't see it coming. Just because prior days to this, I was like draining like everything that was going on. I was like sinking down. Like I'm like, I'm hurt at the moment. I'm hurt because of everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to feel. I couldn't find myself. And then the moment that this happened, I was like, unbelievable. Like this has to be one of the greatest things that's probably came into my heart at the right moment to kind of heal me and bring me back my joy that I've always had.
What a wonderful response, and it's so nice to hear that the word first came your way from a supporter from the campaign. One of my favorite things about the days and the weeks since the campaign is how the community of people who were part of it have been keeping in touch with each other and supporting each other. So I just love hearing that's the case. I would love, I think a lot of followers of our campaign got to know you very well, but I'm sure a lot of people watching this stream right now are just meeting you for the first time. When we first met at UHD there and you shared your story, I was so moved by, first of all, just clearly your drive to contribute, but also the fact that you had clearly an effect on your classmates in your cohort, motivating them in some ways to be your voice because they were eligible to participate in ways that you weren't. And yet, I think you were more civically engaged than a lot of people who do have that technical benefit of citizenship. So I would love for you to just share a little bit about your story, as much as you'd like to, about how you've come to be here and what it means to you to be basically share with us your American story, because I'd love for more people to know about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think we could go back into that moment that I told you when I was brought and carried out when I was 2 months old into this country. So even with people in their ignorance telling me I don't belong, it's like I've been here for 24 years of my life. I know no other language than English, and of course some Spanish from home. But this is the country that I grew up with, getting my high school degree up to my graduate level that I am in now. But in additional, I also am reminded about the sacrifice that my parents did, in that sense of my mom just bringing me across the border, not knowing if or what would happen, in that sense of even me getting a scar in my eye for me to be here at this very moment. I'm also reminded in the sense of when I was in elementary, like not knowing, like, this is Selena, like this is my country. But the fact is that I didn't know it was undocumented until I was almost ending high school. And I realized, I asked my parents, like, I need to start thinking about college. All my classmates are talking about going to U of H, going to all these name brand schools. And I remember asking my parents in that moment, I'm like, where do I land? Where do I go? And that's when it laid to the ground and saying, like, Selena, don't you know that you're undocumented? And that I just remember crying because I didn't know realistically what that actually meant. I'm still a teenager trying to figure out, like, if I want to do my hair or if I don't want to do my hair. I'm like, for me to actually even
Sorry about that. That's
considering
funny.
this, you're right, he's saying hello to me.
Yes.
But it's also just the consideration of, like, nobody really pointed out the way of how to do things. A lot of people always say, you got to do it the right way. If only my parents knew how to do the right way, they would have done it. I would have not been sitting here talking about this uncertainty that's still in my heart. I would not have done it. But here we are, back to 2020, in the sense of, like, I didn't know how to pursue a degree. I didn't even know how to apply for college. I'm the first generation in my family, even the first one to ever go to college. So even just graduating with a bachelor's degree was like over the moon for everybody. And at that moment, I remember when I was getting my degree, I could just see the crowd of my family, like over 50 people showing up with the same shirt on, rooting for me, knowing that my American dream was their American dream. That if I could only cross that stage the same way that they crossed the border, that was it.
Wow.
So I was like, at that moment, I'm just reaching for the sky, and now I'm in graduate school. It's
yeah, so you didn't stop there. It was a huge achievement for you to figure out and decode all of these pathways that some people have set out for them in a very natural way. You found your way to college. You found your way through college, as you mentioned, with some wonderful mentorship and classmates. But you didn't stop there. So tell us what you're studying now in your graduate program, and what you hope to be able to do with it.
Yeah, so when we met, I was at University of Houston downtown. So that's where I got my bachelor's degree in, of course, education, wanting to be a teacher. But I saw my perspective farther than just education. And I remember after our conversation, I knew that I had that power within me, that joy that you and Jose brought to the table, reminding me, like, I did belong, that I decided to pursue a graduate degree in political social work. So now I'm out there in the world doing the battlefield for fighting for undocumented immigrants and DACA recipients, that among myself, I fall in that category. But still, that's not the definition of who I am as an individual, because at the end of the day, I'm just Selena Garcia. At the end of the day, I'm just getting a master's degree like everybody else. And it's unbelievable what I have been able to encounter just going into now University of Houston. getting into that field, that not knowing what was going on, is actually challenging me to be a better human being, challenging me in the way that I would have never been able to sit at a table across somebody telling me that they are Trump supporters, and I'm sitting there getting gutted, sitting there hearing all this maybe racist comments, but I was taking it in because at the end of the day, I'm just there to listen. Whether I'm there to tell them what is the truth or what's not the truth, I was there to listen, to understand their terminology, to understand how they wanted to feel. And at the end of the day, I concluded with just sharing a little bit of my story. And we see like the reflection among both of us. We wanted the same thing. He wanted the same thing for me. I wanted the same thing for him. But at the end of the day, if we never have those conversations, we're missing out of it. And as of now, I'm reading How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Very good.
And,
Such a good book.
I had tears in my eyes the first moment that I've read the first chapter.
So how do you think about that? Because, you know, the movement for Black Lives and the response to police violence, it's a different struggle to the struggle of dreamers and over immigration. But, you know, in a different way, Black Americans have been denied citizenship too. Maybe not in the same technical sense, but in so many ways, the blessings of citizenship, even for somebody who officially has it, aren't available in the same way to so many Black Americans. How have you thought about the relationship between these two struggles and how different communities with different struggles can be allies at a time like this?
Yeah, I think I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself. And what I've gotten to know is that even my boyfriend, who's African American, the moment that we sit next to one another, we realize like your skin color's Black, mine is brown. But the moment that we hold hands and we're literally marching and protesting among both of our communities, it's just a reminder that this is not about one problem. This is about a systematic problem that's happening for many years. We're talking about a problem that's been happening for 201 years. And immigration has been a problem since America was found. So even the people that created America didn't even know how immigration went into line. They just started conducting these lines and saying like, this is how you need to go to DHS. This is how you need to get your fingerprints. Nobody knew who came up with it. It was just brought up after 9/11. It was just brought up after movements. And that's where we also have to be a reminder of the unity of the voices. Just because the ethnicity of like African Americans are struggling through this problem, that doesn't mean that I could just stand up and speak for them. What I can do is stand in solidarity with them and hold their hand, not knowing that that's not my struggle, but guess what? I'm here. I'm holding your hand, even if I have nothing to say because I don't know how it feels to be you. But what I can do is march with you. What I can do is show up for local events, local officials' office, and keep calling them constantly and letting them know, like, this is wrong what we just advocated for. Where do you stand for immigrants? Where do you stand for Black African Americans? Where do you stand for police brutality? Like, we have to be questioning those policies that are in place right now rather than questioning among each other, like, who is better? Who needs it more?
Exactly.
That's
No,
what we do.
it's so important to be on one another's side. I do want to talk, today was obviously good news because it showed that the Supreme Court recognizes that the Trump administration's attack on DACA is not lawful. But of course, that's not the same thing as a permanent path to citizenship, a solution so that you and so many others never have to live with that uncertainty again. So I just saw that Vice President Biden is committed to sending a DACA bill to Congress on his first day as president. Well, what are the most important things that need to happen now in order to make sure that dreamers like you are fully, permanently able to contribute as citizens? And what do you think are the best things that all of us out there who care about this issue can do to make sure there's the kind of pressure to get that resolved?
I think one of the first things we could start doing is calling out racism and xenophobic comments. Also doing it with the mindset of understanding, like, you cannot speak for us. You need to allow conversations like this to be involved in the community, to join movements where organizations like United We Dream, Raíces, are constantly on the lookout of all these decisions that are going in line. also, like I said, showing up for local offices and local officials. Where do they stand in these terms? Like, what is their understanding of what immigration is, maybe, or the sense of like, what does DACA really mean to them? Is it just an individual, or is it a movement? Is it just a terminology that they learn from the precedent, or is it something that they actually know the details about? And I think for other individuals that want to get involved, is just being present at the moment. We're in 2020 and we're still dealing with the same problems that we had back in the 1900s. So we can't go back bringing up problems that happened back in the 1900s. We need to talk about what's happening now. And now it's happening that although there is some undocumented students that are able to renew their application, guess what? That's still an uncertainty. It's such a victory for us. And I'm so excited because I can only imagine about all those other dreamers that couldn't renew their DACA because Trump had decided to cut it off at that moment. Luckily, I was blessed and so lucky to been able to renew it prior to that. But for others, that didn't happen. So now we are in the sense of like, the Supreme Court ruling was perfect just for those individuals, because now we don't have to live with not knowing like tomorrow's going to be taken or the next day. So tonight I'm reminded in the sense of like, how do we go from living this uncertainty to guiding it to the path to the citizenship that we justly deserve? Because I'm like, I was brought when I was 2 months old.
This is your country.
I'm tired of having to live 24 years of my life kind of in the shadows, not knowing what is next. But I definitely truly believe, with so much fire in my belly, so much hope in my heart, that it will get better. And 2020 is the year to get it right. That's right. To make it right, to get that citizenship, even if that means that it's only for me and not my parents. That for me is a victory, because now like I said, I'm no longer just dreaming for myself. I'm dreaming for them too. And at that sense, we got to keep fighting. We got to keep showing up. Movements among like the United We Dream, standing outside the Supreme Court, yelling, home is here. Those are things that we have to consider. Maybe you can't walk, maybe you can't march, but you could definitely pick up a phone and call your elected officials and read the transcript if you have to, that sometimes people give you. But it's little things like that that has led us to this victory that we have now.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so proud of you. And I want to say one of the things I really admire about, even just in these last few minutes, you're always talking about other people and thinking about other people. And I know that you're using your education. You will, when you're empowered with it, use your citizenship, and you're using your extraordinary talents and your extraordinary resources to benefit others. So I'm so glad that we got to know each other. And I want you to know that all of us in the community believe not only that you belong here, but that America's lucky that you're here. And I can't wait to see all the ways you're going to make extraordinary contributions as you go. Thanks so much for taking a little bit of time. And to everybody who tuned in, thanks for joining us to hear Selena's story. I hope you understand now why I think it's so important to hear from her on a day like this. And I can't wait till circumstances do allow us to see each other and hug one more time. But in the meantime, Chas and I are sending a lot of love from here in South Bend.
Oh, thank you. I definitely am excited. Hopefully by the time we reunite, I finish law school.
Awesome.
And all go into play. But definitely just know that you have been an inspiration in being an advocate, not only for myself, but those among my community. And I think a lot of people, even in the media, made you seem like you weren't. But I'm telling you now, Selena Garcia saw you because you saw me first. And I think that is important for everybody to know. You noticed me as a human being, and that was the most important thing for me. And that's why it's so easy just to show up for you and say, yes, I'll be more than happy to help them with that. So thank you so much. I definitely am inspired, and you had put that, like I said, fire in my belly to keep on advocating. And here I am. Next year, I will be interning with my Harris County judge office in her judge
Wonderful.
office. So it just gets better from here. So we got to keep fighting, and 2020 is the year to get it all right.
I couldn't say it better. That's exactly right. We're so proud of you. So great to see you. Keep up the fantastic work. And thanks again for joining us today. Take care.
Thank you, Pete. You too. Say hi to Chaston.
I will.
Bye-bye.
I hope you see what I mean. Selena's an extraordinary individual and also represents so many people here in America contributing, not waiting to make a difference, to get educated, to make good on the dreams that they carry even from their parents. And they deserve better. They deserve a better president. They deserve better leadership. And we can do something about that. Like she said, 2020 is the year to do something about it. So I know that certainly refills my tanks with inspiration, and I hope you feel the same way. Thanks for taking a little bit of time together. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Please stay safe, stay involved, stay motivated, and stay healthy. Take care.